Hi traders, welcome to this video. Today I want to talk about an ongoing trade from me. I want to talk about FSLY and I want to show you where I entered this trade and where I added to my position, and the most important part, why I bought FSLY. But before we come to the content of this video, please read this risk disclaimer. So this video is only for educational purpose. It is in no case an investment device. So you are responsible for your trading decisions and you are responsible for your research and for your trading and investment in general. Okay, so let's dive into the video. Let's look at the entry of my FSLY trade. So here are some of my personal notes. I always take screenshots with my iPad and I make some notes on the screenshots itself. And here you can see the situation in FSLY. I must admit that I also bought FSLY here in June and made a very nice profit here on this uptrend. And I sold FSLY here before it started its consolidation. And some weeks ago I got interested in FSLY again. Because if you look now at the stock chart here, you can see that FSLY made a very nice sideways consolidations for some weeks after a very strong uptrend. And if you see something like this sideways consolidation here, it's always a sign that maybe there is another uptrend or another up leg of the rally coming. And you can see that there was a failed breakout here to the upside around this very important $100 level. And normally in that case, you expect a much deeper correction. So at that time when FSLY did this big reversal here from the $120 level to this EMA 13 here in the weekly chart, I was more bearish on FSLY and I expected a much deeper correction. And the stock did exactly the opposite. So it consolidated in a sideways consolidation in a very nice way. So you can see the volume is going down here. There is a very clear support level around the $70 level. There is a very clear resistance level at the $100 level. And it shows me that the people who are owning FSLY shares are not willing to sell the shares at that level. And that's a very good sign. There was also a problem with TikTok, all these ongoing discussions with TikTok in the USA, and FSLY is a provider for TikTok. And normally this is a very bad news that one of the biggest customers from FSLY has problems. But you can see that the stock itself reacted not badly to this news. So there was no huge selling pressure or anything if you look in the weekly chart. And I always recommend to use the weekly chart because it gives you a much better perspective on the chart and tune out all the noise from the daily chart. I also marked some other things here. So for example, I wrote down very low market cap, but this is very subjective. So I think personally for a company like FSLY, $10 billion is not so much. When I compare that, or when I compare the growth and the potential to other companies. And I also marked that the company will be profitable in the next year, or it's expected to be profitable in the next year. This is a very good sign because you can see that a very fast growing company is starting to make money, and that is always attracting more institutions and more buyers, which are looking at profits itself. You can see the number of funds are also rising here, a very good sign. So a lot of more sponsorship behind the stock, and of course the monster growth here. You can see the sales growth is up quarter by quarter by quarter by quarter before the rally started here. So this is a sign, the company is already very successful before the market recognized that, and before the market and the buyers bought positions in the stock. So, and then you can see in June also the sales accelerated, and EPS is also positive here. So all the signs where I think, okay, there is maybe also more potential in the future for this company, and also after this very, very huge run here. Of course, if I'm realistic, this will not be a company or a stock which maybe run another 400 or 500%, but maybe there is a chance that the stock double again and then have a 20 billion market cap. And I think this is not so much for a stock like Fastly. Okay, here is the daily chart, and you can see the daily chart looks much more noisy, and you can see that it looks very volatile. But if we go back, you can see that you can tune out all this noise when you look at the weekly chart. In the weekly chart, you can see a very clear flag situation or consolidation here. And if you switch in the daily chart, it looks much more noisy. And there is also a volatility contraction here in the daily chart, which is something I always look for. So that means the distance between this high, in that case here, this $117 level, and the low, so this $72 level, is always getting smaller. So in the first situation, it is bigger as in the next correction, and then you see a very small distance between highs and lows, and then another very compressed price consolidation. And that's a very good sign. And you can see I'm not buying here a new all-time high, or I'm not buying a new 52-week high. No, I'm buying in the consolidation around this $100 level. So I get in before this $100 level is broken, and I get in when this small consolidation here is broken to the upside. So when the stock is breaking out of this consolidation, you can see this is a 1 and 2 and 3 wave consolidation here. And I'm observing, or I observed this $100 level. And then you can see that volume is coming into the stock here. So the volume is up. That means IBD is always calculating an expected volume for the day. So in that situation, IBD expected that the volume will be 69% above the 50-day moving average here in the volume. And that's a very good sign. And in that situation, I buy the stock. And I buy only a small test position, so a 10% test position in that case. So I put 10% of my capital into this Fastly trade. And I place a very small or very tight stop loss below the low of the day. So in that case, you're below this, I think $90 level. So, and you can see in that case, my stop is around 7%. So very tight. And when I have a 10% position, my total risk is 0.7% from my total capital. And when the stock is now going into the direction I expected, so up, of course, in that case, I will add to the position. We will see that on the next slide. So, but very important for me when I look for an entry is this pivot point level, or this pivot point here around the 100 US dollar. And when I see that, for example, this small range here, this small range is broken and the price is able to break this level here from the small range, this is a situation where I can get in before everyone else is getting in, because a lot of people are looking for this 100 US dollar level. And when I look for pivot points, I always have in mind who will change their opinion when a certain price level is broken. So for example, this 100 US dollar level, I think, or I assume that this is a level which is watched by a lot of people. So for example, short sellers, or on the other side, people who are sitting on the sidelines and they sold too early or too late in the stock, and they think, okay, when now Fastly is going above this level, I might have to buy in very quickly. So emotions take over. And this is why I'm watching for those pivot point levels. You can see that always around the whole trend here. You know, look at that here. This $25 level here, 25, 25, 25, and then the 25 level is broken and the price is exploding to the upside. These are the levels I'm watching for, because these pivot points levels are always levels where a lot of people will change their opinion about a stock and reposition themselves. Of course, this is more an art and it needs a lot of experience. This is not something where you can program an indicator or something. It's really more a chart reading skill, and it's based a lot of experience to find those pivot levels. Okay, so 100 US dollar as a pivot level. I got in a little bit earlier on the breakout of this small consolidation here. Yeah, and I already added to the Fastly position. And the first situation was when the stock broke out with huge volume and a huge gain above this 100 US dollar level. You can see, if we go back here, you can see the price is hovering around this 100 US dollar level here on 29th of September. And I added on October the 7th, when the price definitely went above this level. So, and then I bought 50% of my previous position as an additional position. So for example, when I bought 100 shares in the test position, I added 50 shares, so 50% of my initial position to my trading position. And in that case, I'm owning 150 shares. And I'm doing that mostly on strength. So that means when the stock is breaking above very important price levels and showing huge volume and showing huge price gains. And it's important that you do that only when the trend is very young. So for me, when I see a consolidation, a multi-week consolidation here, that is always when I reset the clock. So when I say, okay, now a new uptrend will start, and this is a fresh uptrend for me, a fresh situation. And in that case, I'm always willing to add to my position aggressively. And I always have a position size I want to reach in my mind. So in that case, when Fastly is showing me that there's aggressive buying activity in the stock, I always want to have 20 to 30% of my trading capital in such a stock. And in that case, when I add 50% to my 10% position, I now have 15% of my capital in Fastly. And of course, I move my stop a little bit higher so that I do not extend my risk too much. I always try to have only 1% risk of my total capital in a trade. Okay, then you can see some days later, that's of course not Saturday here, but 2 days later, I added another position, because now you can see that this 100 US dollar level is broken, and again the price broke out to a new all-time high. And also the volume was up for the day, and I added another 25% of my initial position to Fastly. So that means 25 from my initial position of 100 shares. So that means 25 shares, and I now own, in that example, 175 shares. So 100 shares from the initial position, 50 shares from the first add, and 25 shares from the second add. So you always add smaller number of shares to your position, so that you do not increase your average entry price too fast. And I also wrote down here monster power, because if you see that the stock is really exploding to the upside, exploding through this pivot levels here, on good volume, that's always that always shows me there's a lot of demand for the stock. So that was my second additional position to Fastly. And of course, also in that example, I moved my stop loss higher, so that my risk will not increase too much. I can go above 1% of total risk in that position, but in that case, when I'm more than 1%, or when I have more than 1% risk in the position, I'm very aggressive when it comes to selling. So when, for example, the stock falls below this all-time high here, I maybe sell some shares to reduce my risk in the position. When it comes to profit taking, I have no idea how far the stock will go. So I'm a trend follower when it comes to selling, and I observe the price day by day. So I look for exhaustions, and I look for where the price finds support. So, for example, will the price find support at the EMA 8, or at the exponential moving average 21, or at the exponential moving average 65? In that case here, the stock is very fast and has a high momentum. I expect that the stock will find support around the EMA 21, which we also saw here in the first uptrend. But I have no idea. So I follow the price, and then I adjust my strategy, my selling strategy to the price movement. Okay, now we come to the research part, which is for me personally the most interesting. I love to do research, and I love to get a lot of knowledge about stocks. And I think this is very important, because if you have a lot of different candidates to buy, you must know what candidate should you buy. And research makes a lot of difference. I also showed you in the beginning that Fastly is a very strong growing stock, so more than 30% sales growth quarter by quarter. This is something which I want to see. And you know that from for example, the Beyond Meat video, I always take screenshots from investor presentations and investor calls. And here, for example, I had the investor presentation from Fastly. You can find that at the investor relation website. And you can see, of course, I wrote down here good growth. And of course, this is a monster growth. You know, if you have a 45% here growth rate, and also quarter by quarter from 62%, this is monster growth. Also, the dollar-based net expansion rate is positive. That means customers are buying more products from the company. They are spending more dollar on their accounts, which is very positive. And I think 137%, when I compare that to other companies, is a very high number. Also, the annual revenue retention rate is also 99.3%, which is also very attractive because our accounts are coming back. So accounts are staying with Fastly, and they are also able to increase the rate by 1%, and this is very good. People are spending very much money at Fastly. I also looked here at one advantage of Fastly when I compare that, for example, to Cloudflare or other stocks, and this is they have a very high number of enterprise customers. Enterprise customers are very large customers, and this is important because they have long-term contracts. A very big company will not change its provider in 1 month. So they will stay years with a company because they have big agreements and big contracts, and it takes a lot of effort to change those contracts. And enterprise customers are interesting because if you have a contract with them, it's much more easy to sell other products to them. So up and cross-selling plays a very important role when it comes to enterprise customers. And you can see that they that Fastly make around 86 to 88% here with enterprise customers. So as percentage of the revenue. So they have a lot of enterprise customers. And you can see that the average spend per enterprise customers increased here from 550,000 to over 700,000. That's a huge increase. So big customers are spending more money with Fastly, which is very attractive in my interpretation. Another thing here is the gross margin rate. You can also see it increased by 10 percent points here, which is really huge. And the driver behind that is also the enterprise customers. Enterprise customers who spend more on their accounts, and they grow also with those enterprise customers. When you have a lot of companies, growth companies, as your customers, and they are growing fast, they spend more money with you. And this has a positive impact also on the margins, because in that case, you do not need more key accounters or whatever. Your customers are growing and you are benefiting from that. And another sign, you can see that here on the right side, you can improve your products and you can improve also the offers to your customers through an increase of usage. So if people are generating more data on your platform, you are able to use that for your own benefit and make your products better. And that also drives margins. And of course, they also bought another company in the security business, and security business are also very interesting when it comes to gross margin rates. So that was really a surprise for me that they are able to drive gross margin so much here. Yeah, this is the merger I also spoke about here. So they bought a company called Signal Science. That means Fastly will more go into the cybersecurity direction, which is very interesting for their product portfolio. I think it's a great addition to their product portfolio. And look at that, the Signal service company has a 85% growth margin rate, so very attractive also for Fastly. And and why are they buying such a company? Of course, to sell more products and other products to their enterprise customers. So if you have more different products in your portfolio, you can sell much more to your customers, and you have a lot of opportunities for cross and for upselling. So cross-selling means selling different products to the same customers and upselling, selling higher contracts, so better contracts where you can make more money. I think this is very attractive add to the portfolio from FSLY here. Then another thing I'm doing is I listen also to conferences from FSLY. In that situation here, there's a FSLY CEO and I think also the CFO, and I made some notes here. And I think one thing was very, very interesting, and that was I think the CEO said something like the customers from FSLY are all benefiting from the COVID-19 situation. So when you look at the customers from FSLY, you see names like Pinterest, like Stripe, Shopify, Wayfair, Vimeo, GitHub, and Etsy. So all companies which are really growing their sales and also their number of customers and number of visitors in their website and products during this COVID-19 situation. And this also brings new power for FSLY, because if more customers are on Pinterest or on Etsy or doing business with Shopify, they are also growing the usage from the FSLY accounts. And this is very interesting. You can see there's a relationship between the customers and FSLY itself. And I think this is a very interesting fact here. So the more the customers grow, the more FSLY grows here. Another thing I stumbled up on here was highest number of new customers in pandemic times. So you can see that a lot of companies are coming to FSLY and say, okay, we have now a chance to digitalize our business or to make our business more reliable, or we have to scale up our IT infrastructure and our cloud services, and we can do that with FSLY. And they are switching to a company like FSLY and build a new business with them. So very attractive when you look that so many other companies have problems to sell their products, and also in the digital and software business to sell their products to customers, and FSLY has a highest number of new customers. So very interesting thing. Another thing, and I think this is really, really a very good strategy from FSLY, is they are not focused on the management when it comes to selling the product. You know, every normal company always have management as their target groups. They try to sell their solutions to the management, and then the management will introduce the solution in the whole company. FSLY is going a different way. They have the developers as a target group, and I think this fits perfectly to the new way how IT companies and technology companies are working. You know, developers have a very high impact on decisions in those companies, and there are more and more teams which are working independently inside the companies, which are working very agile, have their own budgets, and can also choose their own providers. And FSLY knows that, and try to get a feed into the company over the developers. They are giving the developers tools which they can use very easy and very fast, and do not have to spend too much money in the first step. And when the developer sees, okay, I can use that product very good and it fits perfectly to our customers, they increase the usage, and then they are going to the managers and say, okay, we need this tool. So, and if you have happy customers, and in that case developers are their customers, they have a very high influence on the management. And and I think it's also a very cheap way for customer acquisition. You know, I wrote down something like developers pull us in before our sales team arrive. So before the sales team from Fastly is coming to your companies, developers are already have a connection with them. And I think this is a very cheap way to make customer acquisition. Another thing I already spoke about that I wrote down here. Difference to Cloudflare is Fastly has more big accounts, so this is in my opinion a very attractive way when it comes to margins and when it comes to up and cross-selling potential. And you are growing with them, so you're growing with your customers. And I think that's much easier with established larger customers as when you have a lot of small accounts. And larger customers and enterprise customers, in the case of Fastly, means not Walmart or something. No, it means Shopify, it means Airbnb, it means Pinterest. So companies which are growing and which are more mid-caps from the stock perspective. And they are also very innovative companies. And that's another thing which also have a positive impact on Fastly, that they have a lot of companies as customers which have very innovative brand images. And this is something where Fastly also can benefit from when they say we have all the innovative companies as our customers. Okay, so I spoke a lot about that, and now this is the last slide here. And I think it's always very important to know the background and to know why I decided to buy Fastly and not another stock. This is very important for me because I'm only able to build very large positions in stocks when I'm convinced of a stock, when I understand what they're doing and where is the potential. Where is the potential? Is the stock able to grow faster or to continue its growth? Of course, as I said also in the Beyond Meat video, I can be wrong. That's not a problem for me. In that case, I sell my position and I'm out of the stock. But maybe sometimes I find a pearl, and this pearl turns into a very, very big winner, like we saw with Fastly in summer this year, or with other stocks like Fiverr or whatever. So, and this is what I'm looking for. I want to understand, why are institutions buying Fastly? And institutions have a lot of researchers. There are people who are so deeply involved in the companies and in the sector itself. And I'm always trying to interested, why? Why are they accumulating so much Fastly shares and paying so much money for the company? And this is what I'm interested in, and this is what I'm doing here in this research video. And it's not important for me that you are convinced of Fastly. It's more important for me that you learn what I am looking for here and what are my thoughts. And you can, if you look at a different company, you can transfer those thoughts also on another company to see how is the potential of another company. Okay, I hope that this video helped you to understand my thoughts about Fastly and why I bought the stock and when I bought the stock. We will see how it ends. You can follow me on every channel, so YouTube, of course, Twitter, and Instagram and Facebook if you want to. I recommend to subscribe to my free newsletter. I send it out every Sunday with some trading tips and also with 3 stocks from my personal watch list.